welcome aboard Sea Venture. Join us and our crew as we slowly explore Mexico, the people, the culture, the anchorages, the cruising grounds, and everything it has to offer. Well, good morning. Waking up to a windy, blustery morning this morning. It was pretty windy overnight. Woke us up a few times, kind of wandered upstairs just to, be reassured all was good, which it was. You can see we have made lots of tracks, but we've stayed in our exact same spot in our anchor alarm circle that I talked about in another video. Wind rise right now, we have a 17 knots with a 10-minute average of 17.2. Well, as we sit here, I'm sitting out in the cockpit with the cats here in Bahia Tortuga, Turtle Bay. It just reminds me how fortunate and lucky that we feel to be stewards of Sea Venture, because once again, in these conditions, I saw even 25 knots of wind sitting here at anchor. She is doing a beautiful job taking care of us. The paravanes are in the water. We're barely moving around. There's a foot or foot and a half chop with white caps everywhere, and we're doing just fine. We have some friends that were in their sailboat a little bit behind us that are uncomfortable enough in these conditions that they up anchored in the dark, I think about 5 o'clock this morning, and headed out and headed south looking for better anchoring or calmer conditions to go explore and relax. And it also made me think about when you're boating, the weather has a lot to do with what you do, and you can make it really stressful or not so stressful. And the choice, I think, is really yours. We had talked about today taking the tender, going back into town, maybe going up the coast a little ways in the bay here along the cliffs and exploring. We could do that. But the tender is pretty big, even the little one, to be hanging 15 feet up in the air. It's going to be like a kite. So you're going to fight it getting it in the water. And then you're going to get wet wherever you go cruising anywhere with spray coming over the bow of the tender. And that's going to be annoying or frustrating. And then, And so you can fight it and find it kind of stressful trying to force your plans on the weather. Or you can take a different approach and let the weather manage you a little. It's just fine. And change up your plans. So maybe we can do some really cool cooking today. We can relax on the boat. I was up a few times during the night just because I wanted to get up and look around and make sure, everybody else was in where they belonged, and they were. So maybe an extra nap today. Maybe watch a movie in the middle of the day, something we never do. Maybe do some Q&A on for you guys. All kinds of options that we can have a great, relaxing day, even if it's blowing 20 or 25 knots in the anchorage. I think it's a really good idea when cruising to, and maybe you've heard me say this before, to keep all your boating plans written in the sand below the high tide line. And just go with the flow and relax and have a great day. So I think at this point, that's our plan. Is going to be to let the weather tell us what we're going to do. And right now the weather's telling us just to hang out on Sea Venture for the day.
Oh, it is coming out of the water. Look at that. The generator is running in the engine room. I'm here in the lazarette. I'm going to close that up. I started a load of laundry. So I've got a load of laundry in the wash. I'm going to flip it over to the dryer. My strategy is that I know we need to run the generator at least once a day, every day, to charge up the batteries. So I might as well get a load of laundry done while we're doing it. So I just do one load a day. At least I did yesterday, and I have another one today. And that'll get me pretty much caught up on laundry, and then tomorrow I will do sheets and linens, that kind of thing. But what it does do is it lets me put some what do I want to say, some charge on the generator so the generator can work at its optimal capacity and still do some of those things that require a lot of power, but are not in any way detrimental to our battery bank because we're doing them at the same time we're charging. Because the fact that I'm drying a load of laundry and charging the batteries, the rate of charge on the batteries doesn't change because of the laundry. So, at any rate, it's just kind of a strategy I started using because I knew that we would be doing laundry periodically, or need to be doing it, and we'd need to run the generator as well, so might as well combine them. All right, that's done. Turn that on. We also have a booster fan as part of the dryer, and it is, I can show you behind here. There's the dryer that goes up to a booster fan that pushes the air out of the back of the hole. And we have a little flapper on the back. Let's see if we can take a look at that. It is 12:45. The wind settled a little bit, down from the low 20s to the middle teens. We have a 14.4 10-minute average there. The generator's been going. Oh, take a look at this guy.
Oh, I got a haircut. I'm all fashionable.
Haircut, yes.
I'm all fashionable for our video feature, because it's time, Rosie, to get together and film Q&A from the last 3 days of YouTube comments, so I can edit it and post it tomorrow morning. Isn't that the plan? You like that haircut?
I think it's nice.
Yeah.
I got one too. There's 2 kittens in the back, but I came to show you this. We now have batteries at 98%. Stay up there. I'm going to put you to work.
Oh, okay. What do you want me to do?
I want you to shut the generator down. I think that is enough. Laundry is done, folded, put away. Ah, yes. Back to the quiet.
Let's interrupt our regular scheduled broadcast for a little bit of Q&A.
We're anchored here in Turtle Bay, and we're going to take a look at some of the recently asked questions on our blog.
Yep. All right. So Dean asked, and Dean was one of many people that asked, when underway in the pilot house filming, there's an intermittent buzzing noise. What would that be?
That's the autopilot.
Yep. It's the electric hydraulic pump to our autopilot turning the rudders and steering. And in the pilot house, we can barely hear it. And I don't know if that's because we've gotten so used to it, but I think the camera's audio, for some reason, amplifies that sound and makes it louder on the video than it is in real life.
And I would say, yes, we can hear it.
Yeah.
We can hear it just fine. I think we've learned to tune it out.
Yep.
So maybe that's more. All right. Barry asked, this was a few days ago, how did you attach the window shade to the boat exterior? And did you purchase that shade material from a chandlery?
Yeah, so that comes from when I showed making our last final window shade. I installed them with snaps that you screw in the base and then use a snap installer thing on the thingy-majiggy on the screen. And I didn't show that part, and sorry about that. And we already had the fabric on board. We carry a little bit of extra of all the fabric on board. All right, next question from LJ. How do you keep the diesel fresh for an entire year and keep it from getting old? And a variety of people ask this question, and the answer is, and maybe it's the wrong answer, but it's what we do. We don't do anything. I don't do any fuel additives, nothing. Yeah. And we've never had any problems. We use 2-micron filters in our initial Raycor filters. And those come out after 200 hours almost new looking, just discolored from the diesel a little bit. And I think the reason that we don't have any real issues is primarily because we have 1.5 inch thick fiberglass fuel tanks that are epoxy lined. And as a result, I think they're not really subject to condensation or getting water in the tanks. So I think that's the reason. But we don't do anything, and it never seems to have been a problem. All right, the next question from Rob. Share the info on those inflatable fenders, and where did you get those? Yeah. Go ahead.
Ordered them online.
We did.
We did. From a place called SaturnBoats.com. And
yeah, they make mostly inflatable boats. Mm-hmm. But when Rob asked this question, I jumped back online on their website, and I didn't see those fenders there anymore. And I think they were pretty new when I ordered them. That was new addition to their inventory. So I don't know if they're still making them or not. I don't get the credit for thinking of having large inflatable fenders. That idea comes from the Hamiltons on Dorona. If you know them, they have a 52 Nordhaven and have gone around the world. He has a very technical blog online. Yes, he's way smarter than all of us. And he uses large inflatable fenders. And so that's where that idea came from. All right, next question.
STI asked, how does the Starlink stay on the satellite when you're pitching and rolling? Is there a gyro setup?
Or something like that. A lot of people actually ask this question. No, there's no gyro, and we don't know. It just stays connected. I have an idea. I think because Starlink has a whole bunch of little satellites, it can point a variety of directions and work. And it does seem to turn like pointed one direction at an angle when you're in a anchored or in a dock, and when we're cruising, turn flat. But in any event, it stays connected the whole time just fine. All right, next question.
Fred, and it was, do the paravanes make any noise when cruising?
Yeah, no. Sometimes they may creak a little bit, something, and I'm not even sure what that is in the aluminum. And we've heard that at times. I think where that question may come from, though, is that lots of paravane owners do report a whining noise. And I think that stems from where we have our rope down to almost above the waterline and then chained down to the paravane. Some stabilizer systems have used cable, and apparently cable will resonate in the salt water and create this whining noise, but we've never heard that.
So we're on this one. All right, from Toby. Do we ever worry about pirates?
Yeah, that's a question we get all the time. We do?
We do.
You know, I think the reality is it's more folklore than reality. I don't know. I think
it happens. That's not true. Because we know it happens.
But I think it's extremely rare.
Yes.
To be any issue of any serious problems, you know. And we have not felt any issues down here at all, or heard of any issues or any theft issues when we are in Sonata or anything. So, you know, not really. But you know, we're not cruising off the coast of Somalia either. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Next question.
Phil.
What did Phil ask?
He wanted to know how it's going with the lithium batteries.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's a complicated question, actually. Not really. We're really pleased with the electrical upgrade.
Really happy with it.
Everything has worked as we hoped. The entire package, the alternators, high output alternators, the lithium batteries, the 2 inverters, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in our complete electrical system and you've been seeing the Victron panel a little bit recently, we did do a video on the complete electrical upgrade of it, and I put a lot of effort into that video. A pretty technical video, but if you're interested in that, you can go to our website cruisingseaventure.com and go to the video section, and you'll find it under the Tech Talk section. But anyway, there you go. All right, Garth asked. Oh no, Garth just told us about something, and that we'd heard from someone before. So apparently, if you're watching from the UK, you remember probably that there was,
as you were growing up,
a children's television show,
like a puppet or something.
A puppet show or something, named Rosie and Jim was the name of the puppet show. And apparently they lived on a boat in this television show.
So
this old...
we should look it up, and we'll put a little clip in.
Yeah. So anyway, apparently there was a Rosie and Jim who live on a boat television children's show in the UK years ago. Thanks, Garth, for letting us know. Exactly. Um, This wraps up this Q&A session. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment on YouTube or you can email and we'll try to keep answering them. So now back to the regular scheduled programming.
Jim is sitting here on the floor in front of the helm station, right above all this good stuff. And tell us what you're exploring.
I wanted to look at our AIS, which is a Furuno AIS unit. When sometimes we're getting like low voltage problems related to the AIS when on its transmit and receive mode, when the big radar is transmitting, not just on but transmitting, and the big radar sucks a huge amount of power at 12 volts. So I'm thinking there's something connected wiring wise that when the radar is pulling a large volume of power off the 12 volts, it's creating a low voltage alarm on the AIS. So I'm going to go investigate this wiring.
Okay, so what are you finding?
Well, I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to change where it's getting its power from, a different bus bar that I think is not connected in any relationship to the radar at all, and see if that does it. But something is causing it to cycle on and off when the radar is transmitting. So we'll figure that out.
Yep. All right, we just switched it on.
Yep, the power source is on. It looks like it's all, according to all its indicator lights, working perfectly fine. So now let's turn the radar on and see what it does.
Exactly. All right, we have the radar on.
So far, no problem. It's not cutting in and out power. I really don't know what was causing the problem, but maybe we found the solution.
Jim's getting a little paperwork done. It's about 6 p.m. here in Bahia Tortuga. We are in the Mountain Time zone for those of you in the continental U.S. So we have moved ahead an hour and we are enjoying the wind settling down a little bit. I'm going to walk up this way and it'll get windy again. It is about a solid 10 knots or so, 10, 11 knots right now. Which at least we no longer have whitecaps in the bay and it's not the 18 and 20 and 22 we were seeing earlier today, but still a very breezy day. I've been spending some time taking a look at the guidebook on the areas south of here and where we can go. The cats have been thrilled that we've stayed on board all day, and I started taking a look at the chart or the map. We're in Bahia Tortuga here and starting to take a look at some other potential stops along the way, which we'll get into as we head south.